Hey, it's Bevan Bird with my friend Bruce Hughes, and he's in Vancouver, right?
Yes.
All right. And Bruce would like to connect with more people, and he actually is similar to me in being a connector and bringing people together, and also an idea networker too, which is really cool. And we're just talking for the first time now. I think it's our first time. I'm pretty sure we connected in a group on Facebook, in
Yes.
in a light worker group. Um, do you remember or?
I would have to go back to where we originally signed up, but I would think it'd be a light worker group of some sort. Yes. I was talking about not knowing my purpose, and you volunteered to give me a hand finding it.
Yeah, yeah. And you know that I want to create a world where everyone does what they love. They don't have to sell their souls to survive or compromise, right? They can actually be themselves, live with dignity, loved and respected for being who they are and using their gifts. And that's what we want to talk about. It's gifts uh,
Yeah.
and purpose. So like our gifts, often we don't see them because we think everybody has it. Like we just take it for granted. We can't see it in ourselves. And
Most of the time.
yeah, Dov Baron in one of his books, I think it might have been "Don't read this unless you want more money." It may have been that book, and it said, "Ask," and this is like getting at the gold in you. Like ask five people who know you well, and five who know you just slightly. Maybe you met them once or twice. Um, this question, and you got to ask them to first that they're going to be totally honest with you, right? And
Mm.
then you ask them, what do you see as my personal genius blind spot? And so then this is something that they can see that you're great at it or talented, but that they notice that you don't realize it
Mm.
because
Mm.
we can't really see it in ourselves a lot. And that's something we can do to help each other is by noticing the best in other people.
Mm.
Both of us have that gift, which in Monique Ledette McDonald's program, Discover Your Sacred Gifts, is called the sacred gift of encouragement. It means you can encourage people and you see their potential. Do you want to tell us about that gift or your experience with it since being young?
A good chunk of my life, especially when I was young, I could feel, see, realize what other people were. Uh, when I say that, it's like you can just kind of see their talents. They kind of glow in many ways. And often they don't realize that this is what they're good at. And when you start to share with them from the heart what you see, you can just see their eyes light up and realize, I didn't realize that was special. You mean other people can't do that? Um, it took me a long time to realize the magnetic energy in my hands was not something everybody had. So when I talked to different people about it, it was like, no, I don't feel that. And yet I could guide them to feel it with a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
In
Very good.
others, it may be almost anything, their ability to bring people together, like yourself, or their ability to just love. And
Yeah.
unconditional love is a rare gift because we all have conditions, but some people just love you as they are. We all kind of think they want something, but they do not. They just
Mm-hmm.
want to put that out there. Yet
I
they don't
talked
know that
with
that's a
one. I talked with one today and yesterday. Today, Eva Carabello, and yesterday, Maya. Is it Mia? No, Mia. Mia sings.
gift. Did they know they had this gift?
I'm not sure. Eva knew that she was intuitive her whole life. Or I
Mm,
think actually, see, at the beginning, she didn't know that it was any different because she had it, but she thought everyone had it. And then maybe
exactly.
noticed in kindergarten or somewhere around there.
Hmm. Well, the whole world kind of pushes us to be the same, and we kind of think we are. But this girl didn't realize that she had the ability to love, which other people around her could probably feel when they got close on a conscious or unconscious level. But she thought everybody was that way.
Hmm.
Yet, I don't know of anybody who can unconditionally love. The only thing I know of is a dog
Dogs do it. Yeah.
or moms with their children.
Yeah.
But in many ways, I think you're a really cool dude. I love you on some level, but I don't love you unconditionally.
Hmm.
That's not something anybody can do. That's very rare. So Eva, was it, has a
Yeah.
unique gift, and everybody has these talents.
Hmm. Yeah, Eva said, like it's pretty profound. Like she said, she was born with the knowledge that we're all one, and it's like you can only ever help yourself because there's other people, right? But like we see them as we are, and they're just a reflection of ourselves. So if we help them, we're helping ourselves. and she talked
Mm-hmm.
about being present, right, with the person that you're with. And pretty much she's saying like love them completely, right? Like serve them to the best of your ability in the moment. So
Mm.
she really was talking about love there. Yeah.
And most cannot do that. When I listen to another, I'm listening with the want to react back, not really hearing that person from their essence and sharing all my energy with them. A lot of my energy is reserved for my reply. So not everybody can do again what this person was speaking of. And it's such an honoring thing when one is, you know, that their full attention's on you. You can feel it. It's like standing on stage. You know, these people are mostly thinking of you. And it's a shared energy response.
Mhm.
And few can actually focus in on the other. I can only do it when we set up a context that I will focus on it. So I'll now listen to you, and when my brain comes up, I'll push it aside.
Mhm.
But this is something I have to work at. This girl does it naturally.
All right. Oh, what did you see? You were talking about like a flower bed or something. You were talking with someone, and you could see something different. You said
Mm.
that you're colorblind, right?
Um, my last mate and I
Well,
were standing on our balcony and overlooking.
well, that's a label, but yeah, I'd love to hear your
Mm.
perspective. Yeah.
She could see red flowers. I could not. She says, "Look at these beautiful flowers." I couldn't see them until I went down close to them. So we thought we had the same vision, but I'm colorblind. So she's seeing a world differently than me. I see a lot of grays and such, yet I'm able to differentiate between the hues of many things that she can't. But again, I thought this is what all could do.
Hmm.
We don't realize we're actually fairly different units that need to come together to see the whole picture, and they're shared equally amongst us so that we can see that whole picture.
Yeah, we have to understand each other. We have to come together to understand each other and then see how we can work together to solve things that we might perceive as problems. Because we all have, it's like a puzzle. There's a cool thing. There's this guy that like carries around puzzle pieces and gives them
Mm.
to people. So
Ah,
the pieces are from one big puzzle, right? Maybe 5,000 or something, a really big one. But this way, all those people know that they're connected to something. If we were to all meet together, we could put those pieces together and make that puzzle, right? Because he's a networker and a storyteller. It's pretty cool.
and if we actually operated that way consciously in group conversations, we would allow each and every person, extrovert like myself or introvert like others, draw their information out, give them equal time, because we actually all operate on a different wavelength. When addressing a problem, you and I would probably get different energy to come into us. If we don't take the time to share openly and from the heart, I'm going to miss your part or you're going to miss my part.
Great.
We all are antenna. We all channel,
Maybe you
but we
can
don't know.
help facilitate one of my mastermind meetings with that philosophy right there.
I'm game to help in any fashion I can, because what we're speaking of is it's time. It's time to wake up and gather the light workers. We're all scattered all over the place in a medium such as the internet, so that we can share gifts
Mm-hmm.
and realize that we do have them,
Mm-hmm.
and realize that we are all very special and parts of the whole that needs to come together to even share this knowledge.
Absolutely. It's that time to understand each other and see how we can help, how we can do things together.
Mm-hmm. And
We each have to know ourself and what what's we got to know ourself and self realize and
yet
what
that has to be done with other people.
yeah.
Everywhere, every teacher has said, know thyself. Well, I've spent decades trying to figure out who I am, and I still don't see myself without bias.
Oh, right. And the ego can create all these negative stories and
Yeah.
thoughts, mental
So I
challenges.
need your input to help me see some of the spots, some
Yeah,
of the
and the
parts.
best parts of yourself.
And I can only do this with others. But when one says know thyself, it sounds like a completely individualized process. And I don't believe it is.
Mhm.
I think we have to come together to help see each other's painting of self, because we don't know the brushstrokes unless someone else
Yeah.
gives us feedback.
Yeah, what I like to do is make a call, a group call, which will be open for people to come to. And the purpose of it is to help people see their gifts. But
And
we do it collaboratively, right? And it's to value those individuals, right? And because a lot of people are totally undervalued and they undervalue themselves, right? But
big
they
time.
also don't even know what their gifts are. what they can bring. And like, so we started our conversation around along those lines, right? And you were talking about seeing how things connect and connecting people and having these visionary ideas and I don't know, more stuff, right?
Mm.
Like when we
Initially,
went
it's
to
interesting. Although
town.
I've spent decades doing this, I can't see my own gifts.
Hmm.
I don't know what they are. I don't know what my purpose is. It
Hmm.
takes kind of a reflection off others to do that, at least for me.
This is what that's what Monique Ledette McDonald said with that Discover Your Sacred Gifts program. Like that we don't see our gifts, but because we think everybody has the same things, and then we think we're just normal. But
Yeah.
once eventually we can figure it out, you can compare. But her program helps because it talks about each one, and you see like, do I have that or not? Right? Does it resonate with you? And we tend to have out of the 24, we tend to have 4 or 5 of them. That kind of
Hmm.
range, which
Hmm.
means we don't have the others and other people have them. It's good to be able to see them in other people. And there's implications of this all over the place, right? In education
Hmm.
and, like an enlightened kind of education where people can do some more like, self-directed learning and also individualizing the education to people. Like, because think about this, if we've gotten to the place now with big data and artificial intelligence where we can sell or market to people individually, why don't we now teach them individually? Right? We have the technology.
Huge.
Yeah.
And there's all these neat tools out there to help discern who we are, but nobody really applies them to themselves with the help of someone else. I mean, there's the Myers-Briggs, there's the colors test, there's personality tests, there's all sorts of tests, and yet we have a hard time applying those to ourselves to even work in the 3D world. So we really don't even know our gifts in that sense, let alone a much larger sense of the gifts that we don't get paid for.
Oh yeah, and there was someone, it looks like they're quite influential, who followed me on Twitter, and that's how I discovered him from seeing new followers, right? And he has a thing called wealth dynamics. So like on Twitter, that would be the name that you'd look up. That's not him, right? That's one of his brands. It's one of
Mm,
his solutions. So wealth dynamics is something that's a test people can take.
mm,
I wrote in wealthy dynamics. That was wrong. So it's wealth dynamics. So it says world's leading profiling tool for entrepreneurs. Take the
mm.
test to find out which of the 8 wealth profiles is your natural path. So
And,
that's pretty cool.
and then even when you go into something like that, say you have various skills for entrepreneurship, you have great idea and such, but you're probably not good at accounting. Your
Yeah,
chances are you're going to fail.
yeah.
So you can reach out to someone else who has that gift, who enjoys tracking those numbers, and they do a much better job of it than you do because they enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, it's all about like doing what comes naturally to you, what you're good at or great at, and also what you love to do.
And then when you're not good at things, you find others who are.
Yeah, I was
And
just
groups like yours put them together.
I was just listening to The Four by Scott Galloway. There you can see
Mm,
it: Facebook, Google, Amazon, and Apple. And he was saying there's stages to companies, right? There's the entrepreneur, you got to be able to sell, and there's 2 other things, and then there's another stage once that because they got to sell it before the company exists. Then there's
yes.
the visionary. That's once the company already exists and they're leading it. And then there's something else, probably like operations or management after that. And then
Mm,
there was another one in a more when it gets to a more mature place where they might even actually reduce their expenses and sell things off, because if they just keep growing like how they are at the beginning, like how Amazon is going right now, they have access to very cheap capital and they're just growing and growing and growing. So they reinvest money into assets, but you
mm,
can't just do that forever. So there's a certain point where you want to return money to the investors, right? You
yes.
can actually show a profit. So once they get to that certain point, because they're dominating the logistics, right? Like moving things around, land,
Hmm.
sea, and air, and globally. So I don't remember what the exact things were, but he mentioned those 4. So those are
Yeah, eventually they get so big that they kind of topple on themselves because the inside inefficiencies just don't work anymore. So they have to revamp, resystem, and refocus on what it is that they're doing. I've watched large oil companies crash in that process before because they just didn't get efficient at their properties. So they would sell all their smaller properties off to companies that could do a much better job of managing them efficiently.
all right. I've worked in the oil fields too. Um, Originally in surveying, it was like in 2005 uh, with a chainsaw, like cutting some lines for these boxes where they drill. So
Yep.
you do this box and put a nail in the middle of it. And then in 2013, it was on one of Western Canada's major projects, which was $1 billion project for some conglomerate company around Fort McMurray. It's in the oil
Mm-hmm.
sands, and so they move these. They have these processing facilities, which is the first thing. Like once it's right after digging it out of the ground, right? The tar sand, and that goes into a truck, which is 400 tons, and it carries 400 tons. Uh, and when you watch them go by, it's like a building going by, and it's also oscillating into the ground, right? Like
Oh
waves,
yeah. Oh yeah.
very heavy. So this it dumps it into this structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So two of those structures that crush it and turn it into slurry, which goes down a pipe to like a centrifuge. Two of these trains, they call it. We were moving those, and so I was helping to position the thing. So it's a mathematical thing and programming, and so that's how I was involved with it. And like when we were talking before, so that's how I made six figures in a year. Was working there as an employee, and I paid all my debts off, and was able to move back to Vancouver. But then I reinvested into my mind because I didn't want to keep always working in that industry, right? To be a
Yeah.
part of a solution rather than things that I think of as kind of being part of these big problems in the world.
Sometimes you got to be a part of the problem before you can act as the solution, because it requires the knowledge of you actually being there to
Yes.
see the inner workings that you can say, can we shift that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I've heard from Matthew Sikich, who I want to introduce you to too. He has the 5buyinghabits.com. So when he taught me these things, improvers want to improve things really, or change the world, right? But improve is a better word, and they do it from within the system. So you'll see them
Mm-hmm.
staying in corporate as an employee. And revolutionaries want radical change, and they do it from outside the system. So that those will be the entrepreneurs and visionaries because they
I've
can't
been
stay
both.
as an employee.
I've been both, but the employee status just ground me up. I tried to be agent of change inside the belly of the beast, but the stomach acid got to me.
All right. Oh yeah. It was funny because we even used that term of it. Like someone said, like today you're going into the belly of the beast, and we're like inside the crusher or in a surge bin or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And some of us can stay there and be part of that process, and then some of us can't. I'm not one who can stay in caustic environments.
Mm-hmm. I think it was making me sick.
When I was working in the head office of Shell, the fluorescent lights recycled air, and
Yeah.
all the toxins literally made me sick. I had to get a negative ion generator just to be there. And I didn't even know negative ions were a thing back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, and well, okay, basically, I worked at a place that had, because we'd go to all kinds of different industrial sites.
Mm-hmm.
There's piles of sulfur there, and so there's a little bit of sulfur on the coveralls. But see, as a surveyor, normally you'd have a garage. I was in this apartment building. There's no garage or storage to put anything in. And if the coveralls are wet, I don't want to leave it in the car because then it won't dry out. I got to put it somewhere. So I brought it upstairs. But then there's forced air in the building, so I may have messed myself up with breathing in sulfur dust because
I,
I hung it up in the entryway, and then the air blows in under the door.
I don't imagine sulfur is any too good for you. I worked in a sulfur marketing group at one point in time. We sent sulfur all over the world to create fertilizer, basically, sulfuric acid.
So what happened when I got like I got bed sick, right, for a couple of weeks, and a doctor said I had pneumonia. I quit that job. The good thing now is I'm here in Mexico. There's great weather and warmth, and I can go out and exercise because I don't really like going to a gym. So this way I can get exercise by actually going out and swimming out there or hiking or whatever, run on the beach.
You're making me jealous, man, because I'm going to have to go to the gym here later, living in Canada, just to keep
Yeah,
my lymph
keep
nodes moving.
healthy. Yeah.
And yet
But
I
yeah,
do
I
not
was
like it.
getting sick from not exercising there, and lots of rain and not a lot of vitamin D,
Mm.
and also a lot of stress too with the financial worries. So
Yeah, I hear you. I'm
quite
kind of in
good.
the same boat.
Yeah, so I know I make a lot of people jealous when I say it, but I'm just telling the truth, and I got to walk my path, right? And also, I can't apologize for it either. But that's what I'm believing,
Yeah,
right? Doing what you
yeah.
love. So I have to be that. I decided I realized I had to be the change I wanted to see in the world. That was back then, right? In the like November or so of 2016. So I decided to get out of the rat race. Like getting sick like that, getting so seriously sick at that point was a catalyst where I decided that. And then I felt so happy when I quit that day. I sent this email with my iPhone while I was walking to go get like a chest X-ray or something. My girlfriend was with me, and I felt so good like quitting. And so they offered me to continue doing the work remotely, only like through my laptop, right? Because
Mm,
there's field work and there's office work, and I always
hmm
did both of them. And so this way I could just do the office and I calculate stuff, make reports, or program things to make those reports,
hmm
just make it more efficient. So that's working pretty well for me as a transition thing because
mm,
I don't have to do it anymore. That makes me feel really good because I'm not
mm.
selling my health anymore for money.
Then you potentially have a path that you can help others, not too dissimilar to myself, who are struggling trying to go back into the workforce. You found a new kind of a new way to actually have abundance coming in that pays for your rent, so you don't have to worry about your new path of taking care of you and offering solution to the planet.
Right.
At the
Yeah.
moment,
So
that's
now I
something I
do
struggle
both.
with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know quite what next. I have this disdain for going back to the workaday world because it kills me. Yet I'm afraid I can't pay my rent. So, do you have rooms in your little house not too far from, I assume, Yalapa, that you can rent out to characters like us?
Oh yeah, there's other places you can rent. So I can just go around town and find out from them, what they can rent it for, and we'll see what we can do. Because I think you can rent things even for less than I'm paying. The Mexicans definitely do, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, what I mean
Yeah.
is Mexicans renting it as the person living in it, not the landowner.
Mm-hmm.
They can get a really good deal. So I don't know if a Canadian or American can get as good of those deals because it was such a big difference, right?
Yes, I
they're
understand why.
charging they're charging us different prices, right?
And should.
Yeah, but definitely there's definitely some options in the town. It's a pretty small town, but yeah, there are some because
There's
I
little ways to do that sort of thing. Your ability to even do that, find other place and whatever else would make it easier for someone like myself if I wanted to do something. You've paved the path somewhat and given me enough of ideas that maybe I can create something as well, and I don't have to have this disdain to go back to work and sell my body.
yeah, and you could sell consulting or something, right? Because you can do it over the phone or through Zoom or Skype like we're doing right now from anywhere.
That makes such sense to me because especially as we get older, done different things, and we come from the heart and the head, we now have very interesting stuff that we should do. But finding the people who actually need it can be, again, quite a challenge. So for the consultant, you can either keep yourself up to date on your area or you can market your consulting. Very hard to wear both hats.
Yeah, I haven't had great success with selling consulting. I
But
like
there are others who know the businesses that if they found that you had the talents, they could just plug you in, phone, computer, and otherwise. So there's headhunters who specialize in that aspect. They could bring you those jobs and then you could just do it without having to always look for new work. And now you remove the survival
oh,
challenge.
connect with the headhunter that gets some kind of fee for connecting you guys.
That's their job. So
That is a
it's
good
not much
idea.
different than what we were talking about before is the headhunter has talents that we don't. Their expertise is plugged into all sorts of businesses. They
Yeah.
take a finder's fee for finding you, putting it together as a company. It's a triple win.
Yeah, and now
And
you're a digital nomad, right? Because you position yourself geographically wherever you want to be, and you have other people like the recruiters finding you work, and you just do the work. And you don't have to work all the time because if your hourly rate is reasonable, it's a pretty reasonable lifestyle.
and as a disposable employee, you actually charge less over the course of your tenure to the company paying you than they would if they had an employee who they have to put all the benefits and the rest into and training. Your cost over the course of time is much less to them, and they're getting specific expertise from an outside non-attached source. Any
Hmm.
employee inside the source has vested in that company and at some level is afraid of getting fired, so he won't tell the company some of the stuff he sees.
Oh yeah,
You
that's
as a
true.
non-attached entity can point out bottlenecks without worrying about it because your contract is already set in place.
Oh yeah. Oh here, I should show you something because I'm plugged in with Sohail Khan, who's one of the top joint venture experts in the world.
Mm,
Joint venture like promotions, right, where you cross promote to
hmm.
a database, because acquiring a customer is very expensive. And it could
It
cost six
is.
times as much to get a new to sell to to a new customer than an existing customer. So he's one of the top three experts in the world, and he has certified a group of joint venture specialists like myself, and one of those has closed a $3 million deal, and so he's interviewed him, I believe. I haven't watched this yet, but that's brand new, so I just saw that today. Um,
I love that concept. Uh, in
yeah,
my business, what I've been doing for the last few years, we have a whole bunch of mom and pop shops selling senior services. They all want new clients and they're all hot on the concept of referrals. However, they don't actually give any to each other. They just want them.
yeah.
So I tried to get my business to focus on our own contact list to see where we could give business to other people. So then there was a kind of an indebtedness. They could
Oh
see
yeah,
that I was going
because
to
you
give them.
gave first, right?
So then they would pass on their clients back, but it never took hold. I couldn't get my company to develop the contact list, to put the work together, to put it. And I'm a marketer out in the field. I don't do this in shop. So the
Hmm.
referral avenue just sailed right on by.
Huh.
And yet it's much easier to get low-hanging fruit than it is to build a whole marketing system to gather them because they don't know you and there's so much competition saying the same thing.
That's right. Yeah, and
Give
when
them
people
something.
refer people over, they've already got trust because they trust them, and then it's implied, and you get an endorsement passing them over.
Hmm. So if we all even just had a CRM, which in fact had all our clients in it, we knew their needs in different ways. When a client comes through me and we work it, it pops up in my head. I put them together or send them to them, and now they owe me one. I've just given them business.
Mhm.
I may give them further business. Do you think they want to reciprocate? Probably.
Oh, also, what you can do is create a joint venture agreement. So like, there's a certain commission because what you said is because if you send the referral, then yeah, they owe you one. So if you do it with commissions, then they have to send you a commission because you just you shared a client with them who becomes both. They're now a client of both of yours. You've
Mm-hmm.
increased their profitability and your own because you get the commission.
Triple win.
So then, yeah, then they can also send people to you and get a commission from you in your referral program.
And because small businesses aren't really good at that aspect is why I came up with the central business of a call center that would get the client, put it to the person, take the money, take their fee off the top, give
Yeah.
it to them. The service company still likes that you've given them a client that they have not even put any effort into getting. It does cost them something, but they actually save money too, because to save my marketing salary is much higher of clients come through. Each client costs them a small fortune.
Mm-hmm.
If they get a free one through, they've already got it and they can work with it. They don't have to develop a marketing
Yeah.
department.
Yeah. If they're not good at marketing either, right, then it's wasting their time when they could be doing other things.
Most people are not good at marketing
Yeah. I noticed
and
this with,
retaining.
mm. Oh yeah, I wanted to say too, because I forgot this point, like when I brought up Sohail, what was the idea there? Oh yeah, right. Because so he's a successful consultant. So that this guy's an example, right? Sohail
He
Khan.
knows how to get clients
Yeah,
and he can show others how to get clients.
totally. Yeah, he taught me how he does it with a book and a letter. Like so, you connect with people on LinkedIn or attract them, right? But if you're just because the way he mostly does it is attraction, right? With the content, with the book or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But if you're reaching out to make connections, like outbound, anyway, whichever way, right? The point is that he offers them a book to help them double their profits. And like, where should I send it? So he's sending them a gift, the book. That's the thing with books, right? Is you can sell consulting with a book.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like someone else said that too. It was Rennie Gabriel who was saying like, if you have a book and money, then you can make a lot of money. And it's not from the book, right? So like say $10,000. If it costs you $10 for each book, and then you send one to each of the Fortune 1000, and then get three training contracts of a 500,000 each or something like that. That was what he was giving as an example. So what Sohail does with the book is like offer them that book. Where should I send it? They give the address. He mails them the book and puts a letter in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the letter offers them consulting. So he's already made sure that he won't offer it to them if they're not qualified, right?
Hmm.
That's only for the right ones. So he's not investing in sending out tons of books, just to the
Hmm.
right ones. And so then he's offering them a consulting day.
And he could probably do his process for non-competing businesses to him. So other consultants that consult in other areas, he could set himself up as the person that brings clients in just through his methodology, which he knows better than anybody else. So he's simply now delivering clients to another client. They don't even have
Yeah.
to learn his process, and he could take his finder's fee in that process.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's another way of leveraging the intellectual property he has there, because you can use it in other ways. So another example of it is Gary Halbert when he was alive. He did this with dentists. So
Mm,
they're generally not great at marketing themselves,
no.
and maybe I don't know if one dentist hired him to write a letter or something, or how this happened. But so he writes a letter to go into the newspaper, right? A sales letter, and then he realized he could do this not just with one dentist, but like uh, farm that out, like put it all over the place, not just with the local
Yeah.
newspaper, like local area, just do it nationally, and then the numbers that they call would be, or I guess maybe it's the same number and it gets routed, whatever. That's a
Yeah. Yeah.
technical thing. But the point is then generating leads for that best dentist in each town, right, in each city, and they
Yeah. And he
have
goes
to
and approaches them and sets up a contract with them to give new clients, and they're all
have.
happy.
So he does all the marketing for them, and they just have this
Yeah.
calendar, and they come in and work with the clients. So that's all they do. He's putting them right in there, and they've already paid too. But he
Hmm.
has to make sure that they meet all of this criteria, and they have to deliver a certain user experience. So in the
Yes.
ad, it has this special, because that's the product, right? It's a special experience. It's a
Yes.
better dentist experience, right? And so
Yes.
that's what he's advertising, and then those dentists, like you pick one in each town that's the best, and make sure that they make those changes, and then
Yes.
that's his system. So then he was giving this talk at I'm not going to say where because I forgot, but he was giving this talk, and they were all carpet cleaners. So then he was saying, I may do this for you guys too, like do your marketing for you, generate the leads just like
That's
this,
exactly what I was speaking
and
about
it's
with the seniors
premium.
RS. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's premium. It's much more profitable because of the way he's doing it, right?
Hmm.
Because it's this premium service rather than run of the mill commodity. Yeah.
Everybody wants their problem solved, but is not sure who will solve it for them. If you take all that time and energy and risk out of it by finding the best in each town of any sort and guaranteeing their work, the person who needs the problem solved is going to come to you
Mm-hmm. And
because they just
also,
want it fixed.
and there's also now innovation is going into like also taking things out, because for a long time we were thinking what else can we add in,
Mm,
but it's like taking friction out. So think about Uber and versus taxis. It's that you don't have to pay at the end. You don't have to scrounge around to get the money to pay. You can just get out at the end. It's like taking friction out of the process,
mm,
making the customer experience a little better. Because there's like hotels where they don't get you to sign the bill when you eat in the hotel, right? Most of
mm.
them do that, but the ones that don't, they've taken that little step out. They see who you are and they bill you, right? But that's taking some weight, that's taking some friction out of the thing for people.
Eliminating the bottlenecks.
Yeah.
And it often happens by people who are unattached to the process.
Hmm. Very good. Hmm. Okay, so well, this has been fascinating.
I've enjoyed.
Yeah. So we can collaborate. We can talk more about what we can do. But I'm sure anyone watching this may have their mind blown multiple times just from what we were just talking about. It may give you a whole bunch of ideas.
And to me,
And
this is all common sense.
I would encourage you to write your ideas down.
Oh, me. See, I need to have others to help me write them, or I'm going to have to talk into something and type them later because when I go into what is it, my left brain? I can't remember. I
The
can no longer
creative
connect to the
place.
right brain, and I write the same thing over and over and over.
Oh,
So I need others to take my words and format them in a written format, which is not my forte.
mhm. Yeah, you were saying earlier, if you write, then you won't be on that. You won't still be creative thinking. The way that I work best is just talking, and that's why I have
Yes.
a voice recorder, and I take it with me almost all the time, and I'm recording, and then I let people follow along and listen to the stuff as just following my journey, because they can, if they can get something from it, then so be it.
I'd probably have the same amount of paper, which I've written notes, which is about yay much. I'd have a gazillion voice messages, but until I find an actual purpose, which was the kind of the beginning of our conversation here, I
Mhm.
don't know what information to retain. And there's so much information going through me on a regular basis. I can only retain it if there's a purpose to put it to.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
I'm a channel
Per-
for all sorts of weird information that at the time isn't useful. So where do I keep it
Oh yeah. Well,
and
purpose
why?
guides everything. A purpose guides and focuses everything.
Hmm.
Totally. That will help. And having an outlet. So come to the masterminds.
I
Um,
put it into my phone. I'll
yeah.
definitely find a way. And if a reminder from you is always handy, a day of in front, if that works for you.
Okay.
For us people who get information from elsewhere, we can be a little scattered on 3D sometimes.
Totally. Hmm. I made a note of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I like the ideas too about traveling or going, relocating and consulting and the recruiter getting the business and stuff. I think that's definitely something to keep going with. See
And we
what.
can be that person too. You are the recruiter because you are facilitating all of us doing all sorts of things and putting it together. Shortly, for this to be worth your while, you're going to have to find a way to monetize that.
Hmm. Yeah. The
The
usual
time
way
we spend has to be worth something to you,
yeah.
or the system doesn't really work.
Yeah. The usual way is like a commission.
It's the
Yeah.
easiest because a lot of us who are on this path initially don't necessarily have large bank accounts. So just giving you a contract up front would work probably best for you, but it doesn't work for us. So the
Yeah.
best way to give people business and prove you work is to supply them with a client.
Hmm.
Now they know you work and they don't mind giving you some money for proving that it works. But there's so many solutions out there that we can buy into that don't. So we stop buying solutions. We start tuning out.
Hmm. Okay, well, something I want to put together is something about helping people value themselves, right? And then
Mm,
market it, or just get the end result. Because they don't really need to market it, but we need to get that result, right? So we need recruiters, but on an earlier stage, we need like what's your gift, and like looking at them, and someone that knows other markets and things like that. Just other multiple perspectives that can look at what this person has done or what they have, what they can do, and gifts or whatever, which and what where that could be valuable. Do
hmm.
you think maybe you can help me with that idea? Be one of the
Sure.
people that could help people.
Definitely. Sign me up.
Okay, are you willing to do that for free at the beginning?
It's got to start somewhere, man.
Yeah.
I ask people on a fairly regular basis to do things for me for free because I don't have the cash and hope that it comes back to them somewhere else. So how can I not do it myself?
Mhm. Oh yeah, same here. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, let's do that soon. Maybe we should end this recording of that episode, and then we can just talk more like in private.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks everyone for watching this. I hope it helps you, and please connect with Bruce. And
Thank you.
if you know any people to introduce him to, then please connect with them and then introduce him. All
It all
right.
starts that way, right?
So that's how we can help Bruce, and also obviously he can help you if you've heard this. He's got some amazing ideas and certain skill sets, which we'll have to dig into more because we don't know all about his talents and gifts and
Mm,
skills yet. But we've started to experience them a little bit, right?
mm.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for collaborating with me like this.
Anytime.
Awesome. I look forward to more.
Oh, please.
Mhm.